Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take the most complex and fascinating material you send us, be it research, technical manuals, or philosophical texts, and we really try to distill it down into clear, unforgettable insights.
And the source material for today it's truly singular. A listener sent over this complete, deeply technical nutritional guide.
Right.
And it was compiled by a practicing microbiologist.
Yeah.
But I have to say, this is not just a diet plan.
No, not at all. In fact, the document, it explicitly rejects all the standard nutritional labels. It's actually titled the Bio-Photonic Implementation Protocol.
Right.
And it has, I think, maybe the most ambitious goal we have ever come across on the show.
I would agree. The stated mission is nothing short of fundamentally altering human anatomy.
It's wild. The document talks about moving away from what it calls a standard, dense, sort of slow-moving, carbon-based anatomy.
And moving toward a hyperconductive, low-resistance, what they call a silica-matrix.
Or a diamond sun body.
Or a diamond sun body, yeah.
I mean, if you're prepping for a meeting on advanced cellular regeneration, or maybe catching up on some niche biophysics, or honestly, just trying to wrap your head around what diamond sun body even means.
Which is a challenge in itself.
It is. Then you should definitely stick around, because this is where the perspective it completely shifts.
It really does. The microbiologists who wrote this, they view the body not as, a soup of chemicals governed by mass.
Which is how we usually think of it.
It is. Instead, they see it as a dynamic, intelligent colony of cells.
A colony.
Yeah, and these cells are communicating instantaneously.
How?
Through light biophotons and through rapid electrical signaling.
Okay, so that changes the entire game. If communication is the primary function, then the fuel needs to support that.
Exactly. This changes everything about what you'd consider fuel. The main requirement becomes conductivity. It's about minimizing resistance.
So the whole premise here, the core of it, is selecting ingredients that have the absolute highest measurable, what's the term they use?
Zeta potential.
Zeta potential.
Right. And that's combined with the highest possible genetic integrity.
Okay, let's unpack that term right at the start, because zeta potential seems to govern this whole protocol. We aren't talking about simple voltage, are we?
No, it's a great question. It's more subtle than that. We're talking about the electrostatic stability of the fluid matrix in your body.
So, what does that mean in simple terms?
It's basically the repulsive force between particles. If the zeta potential is high, all the little particles in your fluids push away from each other and stay separate, so everything flows beautifully.
And if it's low?
If it's low, they stick together, they clump up. You get sludge, resistance, friction.
And in this model, friction is the enemy.
Friction is the enemy. Friction equals aging, degradation, and a total blockage to what the source calls high-frequency information flow.
And the protocol frames this as the absolute peak of nutrition.
It calls it the highest tier of nutritional sophistication. It involves items that are, frankly, incredibly rare.
And expensive, I'm guessing.
Right. Outrageously expensive in some cases. But they're chosen because they are claimed to offer just unparalleled electrical charge and bioavailability.
Which brings us to our mission statement for you, the listener. We're going to conduct a phase-by-phase exploration of this protocol. We'll analyze the 5 distinct structural and energetic phases, and, most crucially, we're going to unpack why these 10 incredibly specific, almost esoteric ingredients are claimed to be required.
Right, and the why is key. It's about fundamentally rewiring the hardware.
The body.
The body, yeah, to handle what the source calls the new software.
And that software is these high-frequency inputs. The microbiologist calls them, 13 to 15-dimensional currents?
That's the term, yes. And we should probably emphasize, when the source talks about 13 to 15-dimensional currents, it's not science fiction.
Right.
Within this framework, it just means higher frequencies of energetic vibration or specific spectrums of light that, our current carbon bodies supposedly can't process.
So you'd burn out.
You'd burn out. The whole protocol is just a preparation for being able to absorb and store and then transmit this high-frequency energy safely.
Okay, so we're basically upgrading the infrastructure. That makes sense. Let's start with phase 1 then. The fluid matrix.
The foundation.
This is all about creating this superconductive base, and it begins, logically, with optimizing the thing that makes up 70% of our bodies. Water.
It's the only place you could start, really. The source suggests that our DNA acts like a highly sensitive fractal antenna.
Okay.
And if that's the case, the fluid medium that surrounds that antenna, it has to be pristine.
Because if the water is compromised? If it's unstructured or has impurities?
The signal just degrades into static. Cellular communication slows down or becomes full of errors.
And the number one impurity that this entire protocol targets is something called deuterium.
Yes.
Which immediately brings us to ingredient 1. Deuterium-Depleted water, or DDW. And they are very specific, aiming for a concentration of 25 parts per million.
And the specificity of the science here is what's so fascinating. I mean, your standard tap water, even filtered water, has about 150 parts per million of deuterium.
Which is, what is it, heavy hydrogen?
It's heavy hydrogen, exactly. And the microbiologist's claim goes right to the core of how our cells produce energy. The theory is that deuterium, because it's heavier, physically messes with the mechanical parts of the cell.
So we're talking about interference on a quantum mechanical level here. What specific components are we actually talking about?
They're targeting the mitochondria, specifically something called the ATP synthase complex.
The energy factors.
The energy factories. The source actually calls them nanomotors, tiny little rotational machines that generate ATP, the cell's energy currency.
Okay.
The theory laid out is that when these heavier deuterium atoms replace regular hydrogen in those nanomotors,
it slows them down, like putting a weight on a spinning top.
Exactly. It disrupts the speed, the smooth rotation, and it causes microscopic structural stress. It just accelerates wear and tear.
So on a molecular level, our bodies are constantly fighting against this tiny bit of friction just to generate energy. The whole system is inefficient and prone to breaking down.
You got it. And if you're trying to handle massive energetic currents, you cannot have your power generators constantly battling internal friction.
It just wouldn't work. The system would overload.
It would. So the protocol aims to get the total bodily deuterium level down below 110 parts per million.
And the claim is that this radically changes the internal environment.
The claim's quite extraordinary, actually. The source says that achieving this level of deuterium depletion creates a metabolic environment where the rate of error in DNA replication virtually ceases.
Wow. That is one of the most radical claims of precision biological control I have ever heard. Does the microbiologist offer any, clinical data or specific studies to back that up, that level of metabolic infallibility?
So the source material positions this more as an observation. It's based on things like bioresonance testing and advanced microscopy. It's citing models used in very specific longevity research.
So it's predictive science within their framework, not necessarily a randomized controlled trial.
Exactly. But it defines the stakes. It's about achieving precision at the deepest possible level.
And just the logistics of this, it shows the level of commitment you'd need. I mean, sourcing this DDW, it's simple.
Not at all. The material explicitly warns that this is a boutique product. It's sourced from extremely niche labs, often located in Hungary or Russia, or a few specialized facilities in the US.
Then the cost must be
substantial. We're talking sometimes hundreds of dollars for a single liter.
Wow.
And the protocol doesn't even require you to drink gallons of it. It's more about small, measured pulses over many months.
A sustained, targeted flush.
Exactly. Designed to slowly, methodically replace the heavy water that's already inside your cell structure.
That really sets the tone for the entire protocol, doesn't it?
Well,
specialization over standardization.
Completely.
So that's the water inside the cell. Now, ingredient 2, still in phase 1, optimizing the fluid matrix. This is Quinton isotonic, or marine plasma.
Right. So if the DDW addresses the intracellular water, the water inside the cell, Quinton addresses the water outside the cell, the extracellular matrix.
And the microbiologist is very clear that this is not just, salt water.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah. It's not basic saline or sea salt. You mix in water.
So what are the specifications for this marine plasma? They must be exacting.
They are. It has to be harvested from very specific oceanic vortex plankton blooms.
Why there?
Because those are areas where nutrients and minerals get incredibly concentrated and highly structured because of the intense biological activity.
Okay.
And then it must be cold filtered and sealed in glass ampoules. The source is adamant about this. If it comes in a tablet or if it's been heat treated.
The charge is gone.
The essential electrical charge, that high zeta potential, is destroyed.
So the nuance here isn't just about chemical purity, it's about preserving the energetic integrity. Why go to such extremes for this specific input?
The scientific claim is fascinating, is that this particular marine plasma is chemically identical to human blood plasma. minus the red blood cells.
Identical.
Identical. But crucially, because it's drawn from this high-energy biological vortex, it contains the entire periodic table of elements.
Wait, the entire table?
All 92 naturally occurring elements.
Yeah.
But, and this is the key, they're in an instantly bioavailable, high-zeta, potential electrically charged form.
That is a staggering input. So it's not just about supplementing, a magnesium deficiency or something. It's providing the full spectrum of conductivity elements in their most optimal state.
Precisely. The source claims that when you ingest this, the plasma immediately and powerfully restores the electrical potential of that extracellular matrix.
Which you can think of as the watery highway system between all your cells.
That's a perfect analogy. And if your entire communication system relies on electrical signaling and biophotonic transmission, then making sure that highway is highly conductive, fast, and free of static, well, that's the absolute priority of phase one.
It's the perfect foundation for the rest of the upgrade.
Exactly.
So if phase one built this perfectly conductive, static-free highway using optimal fluid, the DDW and the Quinton, then phase two has to be about upgrading the structure that actually contains that flow.
That's a perfect transition. We are now moving into section 2, which is phase 2, the crystalline lattice. This whole phase is dedicated to silica and structure.
Okay, so if the big picture goal is to safely hold and transmit these colossal energetic inputs, these 12 or 15 dimensional frequencies, then the physical structural tissue of the body has to change its composition. What two specific properties does the source say this new tissue needs?
It needs two things: superior tensile strength and, most importantly, piezoelectric capability.
Piezoelectric capability.
Right. This phase is literally described in the text as building a crystal bridge to manage the high voltage.
Okay, let's define that. Piezoelectricity. That means pressure creates an electrical current, right?
Yes, exactly. It's the charge that accumulates in certain solid materials, like crystals or certain ceramics, when you apply mechanical stress to them.
And we have that in our bodies already.
We do. Certain tissues, like our collagen and our bones, naturally exhibit this property. But the microbiologist suggests that for this kind of high-frequency conduction, that effect has to be maximized. It has to be stabilized across the entire system.
And the ultimate building block for this crystal bridge is silica. So ingredient 3 is wild harvested spring horsetail.
And here we hit our first major sourcing instruction for a plant. This cannot be dried powder from a health food store.
No.
The protocol demands either the fresh spring harvest or a highly controlled biodynamic tincture.
Why?
Because horsetail has the highest natural silica content in the entire plant kingdom, and any kind of processing, especially drying and powdering, is said to reduce its energetic structure.
The structural benefit seems clear. Silica is essential for connective tissue. But what is the specific function it's supposed to have inside the body that warrants calling this whole phase crystalline?
So the source makes a really profound claim here. It says that horsetail silica facilitates the transmutation of calcium.
Transmutation. What does that mean in this context?
Instead of the body just depositing hard, inert calcium structures like in hardened arteries or bone spurs, the silica helps to structure the calcium in the bone, the cartilage, and critically in the fascia.
Okay, tell us more about the fascia's role here, because fascia is often just seen as this wrapping around our muscles.
In this biophotonic model, the fascia is considered a primary electrical grid. It's a vast, uninterrupted web of communication and structure that runs through the entire body.
A communication web.
Right. And the goal here is something called the glassing of the fascia.
Glassing.
It means increasing its structural integrity and its crystalline nature to such an extreme that it becomes a highly efficient electrical conduit. The claim is that this structured silica lets the tissue handle higher voltage.
Without burnout.
Without burnout. Without the resistance that is the constant threat when you're trying to conduct this kind of high-frequency energy.
I'm just picturing my own connective tissue slowly turning into a fiber optic network. It sounds electrically superior, but also physically really intense.
Well, it's about changing the very state of matter within the body. But horsetail on its own is not enough for this. So phase 2 introduces ingredient 4, and this is where we get into real molecular precision. Orgono living silica.
Okay.
Specifically monomethylsilanitriol, or MMST.
That's a mouthful. Why this specific molecule? Why can't we just use generic silica supplements from the store?
MMST is singled out because it mimics the precise silicon bond that is already found in the human body's matrix. It's silicon that's bound to an organic carbon molecule.
Oh, the body recognizes it instantly.
It has massive biological recognition. Now, if you look at common silica supplements like silicon dioxide or mineral oxides, they have notoriously low absorption rates. We're talking, maybe 2 or 3%.
In the MMST form, what level of efficacy does it achieve?
A staggering 64% absorption rate. And the microbiologist's argument is, look, if you are attempting a total anatomical shift, a rapid transition to a silica matrix, you cannot afford to waste material. You need something that's, 97% more bioavailable than what standard supplements offer?
That astronomical difference in absorption really makes a compelling case for these high sourcing demands. And the claimed impact of this specific silica, it's twofold and is highly strategic to the protocol's big picture energetic goals.
Right. First, this specific molecular silica is claimed to be a powerful decalcifying agent for the pineal gland.
Ah, the pineal gland.
And in this framework, the pineal gland is seen not just as a hormone regulator, but as the primary receiver, the antenna, for these higher dimensional frequencies.
So if it's calcified or structurally rigid, it can't receive the new software.
Exactly. The signal can't get through. So MST is used to restore the flexibility and the fluidity of this central receiving mechanism.
It's linking the physical structure directly to the energetic potential. You're making sure the hardware is actually ready to receive the information. And the second impact?
It powerfully reinforces the collagen matrix, not just by adding raw strength, but by integrating that crystalline structure throughout. Phase 2 is really all about preparing the body for high current loads, making the matrix, the fascia, and the neural pathways structurally and electrically sound enough to support this diamond sun body.
That is profound. We've gone from fluid purity to structural strength now.
Okay.
Now let's go a bit deeper into the esoteric with Section 3, Phase 3, the God foods. This phase seems to shift the focus from structural reinforcement to just straight up energy infusion.
Yes. The source describes these substances as existing in a state that's somewhere between matter and energy. They're highly charged, often associated with concepts like Ormus or high-spin monatomic elements.
And they're claimed to feed the light body directly?
Directly, yes.
Okay, so our first look at this high-frequency fuel is ingredient 5, fresh frozen royal jelly, also called the queen bee matrix.
And the sourcing constraint here, it's not just a suggestion, it is a foundational requirement of the protocol. It must be frozen immediately upon being removed from the hive.
And never freeze-dried.
Emphatically, never freeze-dried. The reasoning is that the life force, and critically, the energetic structure of the compounds must be preserved perfectly intact.
And what powerful component are they trying to preserve with this extreme cold chain management?
The core ingredient is a protein called royal actin.
Royal actin.
This is the protein that acts as the ultimate epigenetic switch in the hive. It is the single thing that transforms a genetically standard worker bee larva into a fertile, long-lived queen bee.
So it induces a massive phenotypical change, a change in physical form and function, without actually altering the underlying DNA.
Exactly, and freezing it immediately preserves that powerful biochemical signaling of the royal actin.
Applying that kind of phenomenal biological power to the human body, that's a huge leap. What's the claim for humans?
The source claims royal jelly acts as a potent stem cell activator and a major neuroregenerator. But the claim goes even further. The microbiologist specifically cites its function in providing unparalleled resilience to the nervous system during what they call intense energetic downloads.
So if you are successfully conducting these 13D currents, your neural network is under immense strain.
Immense. And this ingredient is positioned as the biological countermeasure. It's for constant, rapid regeneration to prevent any kind of neural exhaustion or burnout.
That makes the link logical within the protocol's own framework. You're using a biological protein that fundamentally shifts one creature's physical reality to support the human body through its own fundamental shift.
It's a perfect parallel.
Next, we have ingredient 6, raw marine phytoplankton, which is designated as the alpha strain.
This is characterized as the ultimate foundational source of nutrition. It is literally the base of the entire ocean food chain, and the source calls it condensed, pure sunlight.
So it's presented as the most fundamental form of life, just incredibly rich in biophotons.
Yes. And the sourcing demands are, again, hyper-specific. You have to get the live, raw paste, which is suspended in a trace mineral solution. Absolutely not the common green powder you see everywhere.
Okay, why the raw paste requirement? What's lost in the powdering process that is so critical for this phase?
According to the source, the powdering process destroys the delicate membrane structure of the phytoplankton, and critically, it destroys the zeta potential of the active compounds.
Back to zeta potential.
Always. And the mechanism described for the raw paste is hyper-efficient. It contains ATP nucleotides that are so perfectly structured and bioavailable that they bypass the traditional digestive process entirely.
So they don't even need to be broken down.
No. They're claimed to feed the mitochondria directly almost instantaneously.
Instant, high-octane fuel delivered right to the powerhouses of the cell. But there's a deeper claim here, a regenerative function involving something called the Gorman factor. What is that?
Yes. The source emphasizes that the raw, live form contains a complex of compounds they refer to as the Gorman factor. This isn't a single element, it's a set of nucleotide precursors.
Okay.
And their specific function is to actively repair DNA gaps. The idea is, if the body is operating at these ultra-high frequencies, the risk of ambient and internal radiation damage is much higher.
So going back to phase 1, if the DDW helps stop mistakes from happening in the first place, this Gorman factor is like the emergency repair crew cleaning up any gaps that might occur during this intense energetic process.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a targeted high-speed repair mechanism. So phase 3 is all about supplying this ultra-pure light-derived energy, along with the epigenetic signals and the raw materials needed for maximum regeneration and continuous cellular repair.
It's the highest quality fuel for the structural system that we built back in phase 2.
Precisely.
Okay, we've fortified the fluids, we've built the crystalline structure, and we've supplied the light body with immediate fuel. Let's transition now into section 4, phase 4, the myco network.
The fungal network.
Right. This phase connects the protocol to what the source calls the ingestion of fungal intelligence, specifically connecting to the Reishi self.
This is the phase that introduces systemic balancing and a higher level of communication into the system. Fungi are, after all, renowned networkers and profound biological modulators.
And ingredient 7 is Ditao wild harvested reishi, which is classified as a powerful shin tonic.
That specialized sourcing language, Ditao and Duan wood-grown, is absolutely critical to understand here.
Can you elaborate on that? Why does this specific mushroom need such intense specificity in where it comes from?
Ditao is a concept from traditional Chinese practice. It means the spiritual homeland of an herb.
Okay.
It means sourcing it from its specific native region, in this case, often the Chaga Mountains, where the fungus possesses the highest concentration of active compounds because of the specific soil, the microclimate, the whole history of that place.
So it's like the concept of terroir in wine, but taken to an almost spiritual extreme, the biological integrity of the location itself.
Exactly. And furthermore, it must be Duan wood grown. This means it grew naturally on specific logs or hardwoods, not cultivated quickly on cheap grain substrates like most commercial mushrooms.
Because the growth medium dictates the final chemical profile.
Massively.
Yeah.
Especially the density of compounds like triterpenes.
And the preparation is equally precise. Cracked cell wall spore oil, which the source dramatically describes as the sperm of the mushroom.
That phrase is really just to emphasize the concentrated potency. The spore oil is where the triterpenes, the core active compounds in reishi, are most highly concentrated.
And the claimed effect is to calm the central nervous system, to calm the shin.
Yes.
But wait a minute. If the entire protocol is about conducting massive amounts of energy, why is the focus now on calming the system? Why is divine neutrality, as they call it, necessary for grid work?
That's a critical tension in the protocol. And the hypothesis is that you cannot conduct this high-frequency energy flow if your nervous system is operating in a state of high alarm, or fear, or sympathetic strike.
What they call resistance.
It's all resistance. So Reishi, as a shin tonic, is meant to ensure a state of profound inner calm, this divine neutrality, which allows the energy to flow through the body's electrical grid unimpeded. Any internal emotional friction would manifest as a literal electrical blockage.
That's a really unique integration of one's emotional state with their actual physiological conductivity.
It's central to the model, and furthermore, the triterpenes also modulate the immune system. The claim is that they help the immune system recognize self versus non-self at a deep genetic level.
Which suggests a fundamental reprogramming of the body's internal defensive identity.
A necessary step if you're going to be adopting all this new hardware.
Then we move to ingredient 8, Chaga sclerotium, the melanin pump. This introduces the critical protective component of this fungal network.
Right. And the primary function here revolves entirely around melanin. Chaga, specifically wild Siberian chaga, is presented as one of the densest known sources of melanin that's available in nature.
And in this protocol, melanin is viewed as much more than just a pigment.
Oh yeah, it's seen as a biological internal superconductor.
How does that theory of melanin as a superconductor actually function inside the body?
So the microbiologist claims that melanin absorbs disruptive radiation. This includes cosmic gamma rays, but also just ambient electromagnetic pollution.
Okay.
And then it acts as a transducer. It converts that absorbed disruptive energy into usable ionic energy for the body.
I see. So if the body is actively stepping up its own internal frequency, it must also be able to shield itself from the energetic byproducts of that and from increased exposure to ambient field.
Exactly. Melanin is the internal protective conversion engine.
So this is the explicit radiation protection part of the protocol. What kind of preparation is required to access this specific capability?
A dual extraction, both water and alcohol, is mandatory for the wild Siberian chaga.
Why both?
The water extracts things like the polysaccharides and betulinic acid, while the alcohol is needed to pull out the highly protective triterpenes and polyphenols. The source is very clear. You need this complete spectrum specifically to protect the DNA from the radiation that is both released and encountered during these high-frequency activations.
It's an internal shield against the very process the body is undergoing.
Precisely.
Okay. We've built the system and we've installed the protective intelligence network. Now we move into the final section, Section 5, Phase 5, the lipid shield. This is all about the cell membranes.
And the source material is really emphatic about this. It states that the cell membranes are the brain of the cell.
The brain of the cell.
They're what dictates communication, nutrient uptake, information processing. And for maximum biophotonic conduction, these membranes have to be fluid, flexible, and highly conductive.
Because a rigid or oxidized or slow membrane just means a slow, resistant system.
Exactly.
Ingredient now one tackles this issue directly. Liposomal astaxanthin, also known as the red shield.
And the sourcing precision remains absolute here. This powerful carotenoid has to be extracted from a microalgae called Haematococcus pluvialis.
Okay.
And it has to be grown in pristine, controlled pools, usually in places like Hawaii or Israel. This process yields astaxanthin, which is claimed to be the strongest antioxidant found in nature.
How strong are we talking?
Up to 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C.
Wow. That level of potency suggests that the oxidative stress from this high-frequency energy work must be absolutely immense. But why astaxanthin specifically? There are a lot of antioxidants out there.
It's the structural uniqueness of the molecule that is paramount here. Most antioxidants are either hydrophilic, meaning water-soluble, so they work inside the cell's watery interior,
Right.
or they're lipophilic, fat-soluble, so they work deep inside the membrane's lipid layer.
But not both.
Astaxanthin is unique. Its molecular structure allows it to span the entire cell membrane. It anchors itself at both the inner and outer surfaces.
So it's shielding the water-soluble parts, the fat-soluble core, and the interface between them. It's full 360-degree coverage of the entire cellular perimeter.
Exactly. And the source emphasizes this is essential because the oxidative stress caused by this high-voltage energy work affects the entire cellular apparatus. Astaxanthin acts as the full coverage armor against the internal free radicals generated by this massive cellular energy flux.
And finally, we reach ingredient 10, which completes the protocol and sort of seals the whole system. Raw, unwashed centrifuged colostrum. This component has some of the most stringent and time-sensitive sourcing demands we've seen yet.
The logistics of this are incredibly challenging. The demands are threefold. First, it has to be first milking. That means it's collected within 6 hours of the calf's birth.
6 hours.
Second, it must come from grass-fed heirloom cattle to ensure genetic integrity. And third, it must be raw, unwashed, and centrifuged to concentrate all the compounds without any heat denaturation.
Okay, why the extreme specificity around that first 6-hour window? What is in that initial milking that makes it so non-negotiable?
That first milking is just loaded with the highest concentrations of biological intelligence, specifically things called transfer factors and immunoglobulins, or IGs.
And what do they do in the protocol?
The protocol gives it two crucial interrelated roles. First, it acts as a sealant. It powerfully seals the gut lining.
And in this biophotonic model, what's the consequence of a compromised gut lining or leaky gut?
The microbiologist labels a leaky gut as a major energy leak. makes perfect sense. If you're investing all this energy and structure into the system, a porous digestive tract just compromises the entire electrical integrity of the body.
So the colostrum seals that barrier, making sure all that high-frequency energy is contained and utilized efficiently.
Exactly. And the second role ties back into the whole systemic reset, this rebirth theme of the overall protocol. Colostrum provides the original instruction manual for the immune system. It's claimed to provide the perfect blueprint for the immune system to fully reset and optimize itself.
So if the Reishi taught the immune system how to recognize self,
the colostrum provides the template for what that perfected self should actually look like, mirroring the rebirth process required for this complete anatomical activation.
Wow. Okay, we have now mapped out all 5 phases and all 10 of these highly specialized ingredients. Let's move to section 6, synthesis and application. How does the microbiologist actually organize these complex, rare inputs into a coherent daily rhythm?
So the concluding note in the source material is a necessary dose of realism. It emphasizes that this protocol is expensive and it requires extreme diligence in sourcing.
You can't just substitute things. You can't compromise on details like DeTau or first milking.
No. And the rationale is purely material science. You are systematically replacing your body's raw materials with the highest frequency, most conductive matter available on Earth.
And that relentless pursuit of high zeta potential means you're minimizing atomic resistance or friction at every single stage.
Absolutely. So the daily protocol is structured less like a meal plan and more like an electrical charging routine. It's based entirely on timing and having explicit intention to prepare the body in stages.
All right, let's review the timing. First thing in the morning, upon rising, the flush.
This happens immediately when you wake up. It's a measured pulse of the deuterium-depleted water, about 200 milliliters, combined with 1 ampule of the Quinton isotonic.
And there's an intention with it.
A very clear one. I structure the fluid medium. This is the immediate preparation of the cellular environment. You're reducing friction and electrically charging the extracellular matrix right at the start of the day.
Okay, next up is the morning elixir, the charge. This is where the structural and the light inputs come together.
Right. This combines the structural builders with the light-derived energy. You mix the raw marine phytoplankton paste, the living silica, the MMST, and the protective liposomal astaxanthin.
And you mix it into what?
Crucially, they are all mixed into a warm tea that's brewed from the wild horsetail. The intention here is to combine that light fuel with the crystalline structure to maximize conductivity and to provide immediate protective shielding against any oxidative stress during the day.
Then we have midday, the intelligence. This seems to target the neural network and calming the spirit.
It does. This involves the fresh frozen royal jelly, which is taken sublingually under the tongue for rapid absorption and direct neural support. And that's combined with the Reishi spore oil.
And the intention.
The explicit intention is, I activate the neural network. This supports the nervous system while it's under load. It calms the Shen, it activates stem cell function, and it prepares the neural pathways for continuous high-frequency transmission during the active part of the day.
And finally, we have the evening, the shield. This is preparation for rest and deep regeneration.
This phase focuses heavily on protection and fundamental repair before you go into your deep rest cycles. It combines the raw colostrum and the chaga extract. So this ensures DNA protection from the chaga's melanin shield. It provides the immune blueprint for the reset, and it seals the intestinal membranes with the colostrum to prevent any energy leakage while the body integrates all the changes from the day.
You're basically securing the system against any kind of breakdown overnight.
Exactly.
So if we connect all 5 of these phases back to that initial incredibly audacious goal moving from a carbon-based anatomy to the diamond sun body, what we're really looking at is a true full system upgrade.
It is.
It's not about fueling movement or building muscle in the traditional sense. It's about micro-level material science that's intended to literally change the body's composition so it can conduct these continuous high energetic currents, those 13 to 15 dimensional frequencies.
It's a remarkable synthesis, isn't it? It's advanced biophysics, microbiology, and very traditional sourcing wisdom all rolled into one. The protocol demands that the practitioner treat their body like an extremely sensitive electrical device, governed by light and charge, rather than just mass and chemistry.
What stands out most to me from this whole Bio-Photonic Implementation Protocol is the relentless obsessive focus on the integrity of the material science. I mean, the detail about the specific molecular structure of water, the high absorption rate of the MMST silica, the need for lipid protection that spans the entire cell membrane, All of it is driven by this one singular mission.
Maximizing electrical and biophotonic conductivity.
Right. And the sourcing demands the need for Datao, Dwanwood, first milking within 6 hours, specific microalgae strains. They're not just arbitrary preferences, are they?
Not at all.
Yeah.
They reflect this core understanding that any processing or heating or any deviation from the material's natural structured state, it compromises its electrical charge. It compromises the zeta potential.
And by doing that, you're introducing the exact friction the entire protocol is designed to eliminate.
You'd be defeating the whole purpose.
It just raises such a profound set of questions about how we view biological systems. I mean, if the body truly is governed by light and electrical charge before it's governed by mass and chemical reactions, then you could argue that current mainstream nutritional science is entirely missing the primary variable.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. If maximizing zeta potential really is the key to optimal biological function, as this microbiologist suggests, what breakthroughs in contemporary biophysics, specifically research that's focusing on the electromagnetic properties of DNA, or studies into the crystalline nature and the conductivity of the body's fascia network, what breakthroughs might already be out there, quietly validating the electrical claims laid out in this radical high-frequency protocol?
Something to mull over as you contemplate the electrical conductivity of your own hydration.